Start recording. Start streaming. Still a Human Rights Day. 9:08 p.m. (9:09). 10th of December 2025. I guess I should but that's one thing. Like, the idea that it doesn't matter that you filled all this shit out. That looks like crap. Yeah. I've been medically isolated since 2020. While in isolation, I've been terrorized both inside and from outside of the building. Management has blown me off over and over, and changed property management companies 3 times. Building is designed with services to keep vulnerable people housed, stopped helping me get assistance altogether. There's been an obvious effort to hurt me, use me for things I do not consent to, and try to force me to move since 2020. I'm in limbo applying for disability assistance, have had to try to find programs to help me on my own, which they have made difficult to pay. I've given them an official letter about my PTSD should be accommodated based on the Americans with Disabilities Act. Portland is also supposed to have protections for non-believers. I'm a lifelong humanist and see discrimination, which seems to be playing a part in the situation as well. I should have been at home in Portland. I've lived here since 2012 and this unit since 2015. These issues of terrorism started in 2020. But it got like all jacked a little bit. Yet requesting a hearing delay. Stuff. Don't know what you should really think is ever gonna happen. What the fuck is this? Oh, they're really fucking me over. Like, something is, like, I had to save this goddamn email, something digitally. Save this email, like, or this Power fucking Acrobat Reader thing multiple times. I feel like I'm getting my period and have like really bad cramps. Sent. And then they sent this to the other email. Like, I might not have even gotten it. Don't know what the point of that was. Maybe it was to double check that both of them are me. Maybe. That does make some kind of sense. Like, feel like, oh, they're just gonna force you to go to trial and then evict you anyway, Laura. It's like, if they really gave a shit, they wouldn't keep. Yeah, see, so you can submit. They sent the forms on this one. And then I have to use this like alternate email to see if people are like not getting my stuff or. And then it's like, here's a blank form to request a motion for remote appearance. You can file it at the counter at the courthouse. Like, you're just doing that hoping someone's gonna blow their own fucking brains out, right? Like, after you say, like, how many fucking times, like, I can't leave my unit. I'm not going to blow my brains out either, but... And they sent that to me twice. This is the first time Urban League is sending me stuff back. So yeah, they blocked the other email address for some fucking reason. Someone just banged on my ceiling, which feels like on purpose. They're not just living in the unit. Yeah, sometimes I think someone gutted the Urban League of Portland because they helped me twice and were really nice to pay my rent once before 2020 and then once after. And then, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, should I think all the protesters are gone? They wiped them out of the fucking city. Like, that's the level of shit that's been going on. I don't know. So they just, and this was like an entirely blank thing. Like, good luck. This also says from outside the judicial department, so that's something. Confusing. It's from like an official OJD. And then this that I just sent, the paperwork I filled out to. Well, there's some crap about, like, you have to supply a copy of stuff. So, I mean, I included the lawyers. And the people that are supposed to be helping me get assistance. So I need to download this. I need to download all of them, actually. Those are the empty ones. Oh my god, where... Okay. Yeah, it feels like I should save them to my drive. There. Now there's a copy of everything everywhere. I just read that out loud. There's that one. And then there should be a third one. This one. So I have had to repeat myself so many times in so many emails and motions and messages. I have been medically isolated since 2020. People have taken advantage of my situation and terrorized me in various ways the last 5 years. I believe they had nothing to do with the protests of 2020 and instead took advantage of the chaos to stage corrupt political theater. I have been hurt, my body has deteriorated. I cannot function like I did before 2020. There is an obvious direct effort to hurt me, use me for things I do not consent to, and attempts to force me to leave my home, go somewhere else. I have been terrorized. My small studio apartment has been gassed to the point I cannot breathe. It has damaged my vocals. I have had inexplicable and painful medical issues for which I could not leave to get treatment. I have recordings which I have shared multiple times of neighbors inside the building harassing me. Outside, there have been random garbage trucks breaking glass and coming to bang dumpsters in the night on and off for years. The glass was mostly 2020 and 2021, as if they were making sick jokes about crystal knot, revving motorcycles and other vehicles and weaponized sound that is not music, sounds to mimic gunfire or actual gunfire. It has been even worse a couple years ago, but never ended. The soundscape itself is being used as a psychological weapon. They made it sound like a war zone in 2020. Someone setting off the fire alarm for the whole building, not just in their unit, over 50 times since 2020. I lost count after 40. There's no way no one noticed for 5 years as I live across from the Union fucking Gospel Mission downtown, and there is always cop cars stationed at the corner of Cooch. Pause. Like, you can look it up on fucking Google Maps yourself. I mean, yeah, they also have had 5 years to stage whatever, come up with whatever, make up a phony story, whatever. I'm still like weirded out that they changed this May 2024 picture. You get the difference if you go back a little bit. That's the same picture. May 2024. You just get it at a different point of the... And then it's like, it's gone if you go closer. Yeah, it makes you wonder who's running this fucking thing. But yeah, there's like a police thing right here. There's no way nobody noticed shit. Something, anything. For 5 years. And so, yeah, what would be the point of that? Like, who gets what interest out of this? You know, that's my thought process. Stationed at the corner cooch. I think at this point, someone is having people harass me as warfare practice, possibly to get excuses to sweep the unhoused into shelters or out of the city, which is political theater. People have directly pounded on my unit from above and next door so hard it feels like being beaten up. I have told management, which has changed from income property management to Pinehurst to Polina since 2020. And now even the Innovative Housing Inc. side is not helping me anymore. I've had a history of medical issues that made COVID a death threat for me and would have never been in the position to be harassed if COVID had not happened. I've lived in this unit since 2015. I've lived in Portland since 2012. Longer than I've lived anywhere. I grew up at Milton Hershey School. Like, just to get the point, like, I don't have somewhere to fucking go. I'm not some, like, I don't know, a story of some spoiled kid that ran away from home and hated their nice, perfectly competent parents and just was, like, some kind of brat. Which, like, I mean, how could you think of people if you were just, like... Anyway, a free boarding school, social orphanage. The closest equivalent is a foster care system, and I was in foster care between my gram dying and my dad getting custody. He's dead, and we were estranged anyway. I have no other home. There's nowhere you could interpret as my home where I should go. Trying to evict me again seems like some kind of last resort to make me leave and use the law system to permanently ruin my life. The building is supposed to help keep you housed and has specific resident assistance position for that purpose. They stopped helping me. And I'm making a really big point about it because one of these is the landlord even prevented me from keeping the agreement. Like, they made it hard to pay it back. I can't use the online portal. And now, like, all of the, like, I have to get what's it called? A money order. So, like, even if someone had dumped a whole bunch of money in my GoFundMe, I needed to get money orders, and that takes time on all this shit and have it sent to them. Like, they made it difficult to pay it. And they're supposed to be the ones helping sign you up for shit anyway. Like, they should have known all of the shit that you could ever get signed up for. And I should have been signed up for it, like, since I fucking moved in 2015. That's the point of the building. It's not like a regular fucking apartment building. They stopped helping me. I provided my PTSD letter, explained I am filing for disability multiple times. Even these documents came with a suggestion I still needed to go to the courthouse. I cannot leave my unit. Already filed a motion for dismissal during the 2025 trial. I do not feel I was even listened to. Was granted permission to appear remotely in 2024 and 2025, which was granted. So, like, there's precedent for this. I'm a humanist and a medical patient, progressive person, writer, artist. I should have been at home in Portland Portland has specific protections for non-believers as well. It has been exhausting having to repeat my trauma over and over and feel ignored. There's always more to say about everything since 2020, both personally and on a global level. I do not feel I have anyone to call for help. Whoever has authority over my specific street, participate. I should have said I'm an essential worker too. It was so hard to make these stupid lines fit on this fucking thing. Because the acrobat shit. Always more to say about everything since 2020. I feel ignored, both personally and on the global. I should have been at home in Portland. Portland has specific protections for non-believers as well. It's been exhausting having to repeat my trauma over and over and feel ignored, which that itself is like a tactic to just like tire you out, like you'll just go away. There's always more to say about everything since 2020, both personally and on a global level. I do not feel I have anyone to call for help, and whoever has authority over my specific street participated in or allowed horrible things that happened to me for 5 years. Could also be seen as a conflict of interest relating back to 2016 when I was a day porter janitor at Oregon Pacific Investment and Development and was given an NDA upon my termination that would have prevented me from pursuing their past and future lessees, which included fire, police, retirement, income property management, who used to run my building. There's more too, but like those seem like the two most obvious. Like, I have said this and more in a statement I made to the court in 2024, but was ignored, which should be on file somewhere. I have no other home, and being evicted after 5 years of medical isolation is a death threat. I have no other home, and being evicted after 5 years of medical isolation is a death threat. I have no other home, and being evicted after 5 years of medical isolation is a death threat. Not to mention the people terrorizing me. Please let me stay housed in my apartment while I find help from programs with assistance. It should have, the thing fucked me over. I deleted that extra programs word. I don't know why it's still there. Again, the purpose of this particular building is to keep people housed, but they have been negligent. This feels like deliberate debt bondage when everyone has been aware of my situation for years. So, and what? That's like the best I can do. What else am I, like... I feel like I said, and it's like, yeah, we had you like, first we attacked you, and then we had you practice what you were gonna say, essentially, like by making you have a panic attack over and over and over again. So like you did this to me on purpose. You know, that's some kind of lawfare bullshit. No, you can't just do that. I mean, it's either, like, they are literally trying to make you into a story, or, you know what I mean? And stop it! And again, yeah, I don't want to, like, there needs to be something that's like, oh, so there's a precedent. They were practicing on her. Didn't give a fuck about her. They practiced on her. And they're going to do this shit again to other people. And eventually you'll get enough fucking people that have said, like, yeah, they did this to us too. And then it will stop. Like, forever. hungry. I need to make something. Well, because, like, on one hand, don't you want to, like, try to make your food last as long as possible? I have no idea how long I'm going to be in this room now. It's like all of a sudden, out of nowhere, whether or not you actually have until Friday, or that's a bluff, or this will get passed, and they made you do all this to... But the obvious will be obvious to somebody that knows better than I do. And then, well, yeah, they wanted you to get help from, yeah, but I feel like they want you to get help, and it's going to conveniently be from somebody that they kind of control. I mean, I don't know how else to put it. I don't, you just have like a spoon. I don't know, I just use chopsticks for everything. I like it that way too. Being awake at night now is a comfort to me. Like, whatever the trajectory of my life has been, I don't know, it's just when I'm awake too. I'm not trying to be a bitch. It's like, ideally, you would just sleep when you're tired, whether it's the middle of the day or the middle of the night. You know, I used up my energy and I got tired. I'm not trying to deliberately, like, fuck over anybody else or... God, yeah, when I was cleaning at night, I needed to be awake. And I've been being awake at night. It was like when I was a little kid, I was awake past midnight. Going to MHS, they made you live on this, like, really, I wasn't even getting sleep. When I went to my dad's, I would sleep. That was the luxury, just being left alone to sleep. But you'd be like lights out, like 9 or 10 p.m. depending on your merits. Yeah, it was 7 p.m. a couple times that I still, like, the fuck. I remember it being light outside. Kids were playing outside. And they had us go to bed, like 5th or 6th grade. And then you wake up at like 5:55 a.m. And like I would get well, there's like showers at night, and I would take a shower in the morning. Um, Often though that changed all the, like it's not a consistent thing. Like when I got to take my shower, but that was like part of it. And then doing this like 5-minute shower thing early on that stopped. But I mean, no one took like an hour-long shower. I feel like you were expected to be in and out within like 15 or 20 minutes. Yeah, that's an average over like 8 years with different house parents and situations. And the point, the typical schedule in Eastmore: 5:55 a.m. wake up, shower, then go around and turn the lights on, and say, "Good morning, it's time to wake up." No wonder people hated you. And then you're supposed to have your teeth brushed and your bed made with hospital corners, and your school clothes on. And then it's like, yeah, but something like 6:15. You're at the kitchen counter. If you're late, you're fucked. And then you eat breakfast for like 10 minutes, 15 minutes tops. Was like every meal. Dinner was what, like a half an hour? Lunch was 15 minutes. By the time you got your lunch, it was, and then, what then you have the morning chore, which split between kitchen crew and bathroom crew. So like some people went the toilets, sinks, floors, showers in the bathroom, or like hopper, floors, counters in the kitchen, depended on what chores you were assigned. And then, yeah, that was all until like 7 o'clock. And then 7 o'clock, you're supposed to have your ass on the couch and you do devotions, and then out the door 7:15, either walking to school or the van. And then you're at school from 7:15 until 2:55. And then there might be after school stuff, but you need like a pass. Otherwise, you're expected to be back at your student home. Like, if it was, you had 15 minutes to walk to school, you got 15 minutes to be home. Like, and well, sometimes I lived on Crest Lane, was like a mile. That could take me like 30 minutes or something to walk. But yeah, and they weren't as strict. That was 11th grade. They weren't as like harping on you. Let me see your pass to make sure, like, and check when you fucking. Anyway, and then what? Dinner was usually like, sometimes it was at 4, sometimes it was at 5. And then kind of the same thing, like, well, it depends, like, whether you had chores immediately when you came home, or there was like a little gap. In 8th grade, they had 7th Heaven on TV. I've said like a million times. That was like really special. Like, and I would fall asleep until dinner, and then the chores were after dinner instead of both before and after. Yeah, again, it's kind of like a split of like kitchen and bathrooms, and then you'd have like a personal chore, like hallways, the service porch, the office, the rec room, the foyer, the living room, you know, like split into parts. And then, yeah, then depending on your merits, it was bed at like 9 or 10 o'clock. And then you do it again. 5:55 a.m. Like what? Morning hygiene, breakfast, chores, devotions, school, chores, dinner, chores, some kind of like study hours or fun hour, depending on what merits, bed, and do it again. Forever, for 8 years. Like, so yeah, so in so many ways, just like, fuck you. Um, and now what? Like, yeah, the idea, well, college, I ended up kind of doing a similar, no chores, hallelujah. Um, but like, uh, yeah, deliberately trying to take classes in the afternoon or at night. Didn't want morning classes, wanted to sleep. Um, Staying up late at night, writing. My major was writing. Like, I could finish a paper in 4 fucking hours. Like, almost like guaranteed. The night before it was due, which was something I had been doing since like middle school. Um, and then, but like it didn't really, you know, some, it didn't stray that much from like a similar pattern of things. Yeah, going to class, going back to my room, going to class, going back to my room, mostly. Um, Driving up and down to see my friend was from like 2010 through 2011 even. It was like, well, I didn't know them in 2012. Like, that's the cutoff year. Everything changed. Like, um, and then I moved to Portland. Graduated from college, moved to Portland. And it was sitting at the picnic table, surrounded by people talking about stuff I don't even remember. People getting drunk, people smoking cigarettes, people smoking pot. What felt like a normal goddamn life, especially after being in the Czech Republic. Like, but yeah, you stay up, you go to bed when you're tired, you're awake when you're awake, people are around. It didn't feel like anyone was stalking me. Even though there were people around at all hours, and it was like, it definitely wasn't the vibe of like stalkers in Stalkerville. Um, Nobody was ever like, that I remember, be pissed about, yeah, sound, people playing music. There was a guy that used to live in this building that would like blast music downstairs. You could hear it walking in the hallway. The loudest motherfucker I have ever I don't know what they look like. They could be a lady. I have no idea. But like, yeah, that went on for years. Like, it was like that from 2015 through like, I don't know, 2021, 2022. And then I remember going down to take out my trash before this shit with my neighbor happened in 2024. And it was quiet. Like, they left or something. No idea who the fuck it was. But that went on for fucking ever.
and was just normal. Um, yeah, never liked the idea that they were bothering anybody, that someone would get moved into the apartment next to them and it was like a terrorist trap or something. Like, um, and then what? Well, yeah, everything since 2020, or well, moving in here, it was loud at night. I've said that before. Not as like a way to bitch about it, just like a fact. It was loud, and it was loud in a way that you did not warn me. You said it was loud on the weekends when I came to get this apartment. Like, that I might need earplugs on the weekends. I never got earplugs until after 2020. I didn't have fucking earplugs. No matter like however loud it wasn't like hurting you loud. It was just annoying and keeping you awake loud. Sometimes it would shake the fucking some quality of like deliberate orchestrated, how do I want to, like almost like scientifically designed to weaponize thing has been going on, like an LRAD level of something, but it's with like bass. That's not apparently how an LRAD works. It's not just like bass, but this is like trying to weaponize bass and then hitting you with it, and then like silencing the whole area and then blasting things off in it to create this like PTSD response. That's when I needed earplugs. Oh my god, yeah, there's something like in your nerves. When I remember when I first bought noise canceling headphones, and like my entire body relaxed for the first time in like 2 years. Yeah, there's too many little details to remember, by the way, of like all this shit. But yeah, that's like some military shit. The idea that somebody knows this entire situation, even like from the perspective of the people doing it, but they're not just gonna like, they for some reason want you to facilitate a situation of like complaining about it instead of them just straight up saying like, yeah, we watched the whole thing, this is what happened, this is what they were doing. Why wouldn't you like, yeah, what's in it for you to just, you sit back and you're gonna let some story unfold instead? Well, yeah, well, they're scared of losing their job and they're gonna keep their job but make you say stuff. What? Like, well, that was dumb. I need that. So. Somebody acting like I didn't. What line did I cross, bitch? If I don't even know about it, you can't do this shit to me. Like, you can't make up like fucking teams out of the blue just to be like convenient. There are no teams. Not that I was ever aware of. There's like rich and poor people, where the fucking. Oh. I'm getting so upset. My body is hurting. Um. The idea of the rich and poor people, but you know, are they seriously like trying to kill you? Like class warfare, and then religious shit. Like, But, I mean, even then, it makes no sense that they'd be killing you. Then they're just a hypocrite. They could call themselves a Christian all they fucking want. It says thou shalt not kill, and love thy neighbor, and all this other shit in there. So, you know, then you are just, like, a liar. You're not even, like... You make no fucking sense. They wouldn't be having killed you. That they're just a psychopath. Like, they can call themselves whatever the fuck. Yeah, the same with, like, somebody saying that they're Antifa or a human rights activist, and then they were hurting you. No, then they're not. They are a hypocrite. That's what they are. They're a hypocrite. Yet you keep getting told over and over that there's some kind of white supremacy bullshit out here. Once again, would never get on that boat. Don't know how I could have ever been mistaken. That's its own, like, bullshit. If you were like, well, you're white, we thought you would like this. No! I did get my period. Great. Top of everything else. Siren stupid sounds. oh, well, that's just another nightmare and a half. Yet you're gonna get evicted on your period and be bleeding outside. Isn't that funny? We just made you go through that for some demented reason. I mean, you're making me have to think about it happening enough times that, like, that was its own level of trauma. You're all fucking stupid. Being cruel is stupid. What, wanting to say, like, I didn't hate this place. I liked that it was, like, the entertainment district. I liked the nights when it was, like, at a nice level of music and people. I liked that. I didn't, but yeah, sometimes it was a lot. But it wasn't like this shit, where it's like someone's deliberately trying to attack you. Make you leave or whatever. Somehow, yeah, stalking you. Come on, just make her have a fucking aneurysm over shit that is not true. I don't even have to fucking address it. I've said it's like a theocratic real estate scam. Like, somebody must have just wanted to clear the area out, take it for themselves. They did the same goddamn thing with Gaza. Play the Democracy Now thing about the fact, yeah, they always have all the words, you know? And I'm just saying a parallel here between I wanted the golden thing first. Let me put this on like a add to queue. Yeah, it'd be nice if you just had a short little snippet ready to go. I feel like all my work is just like, I'm gonna get stuck in the rain. Aren't you glad you uploaded all those videos to the internet somewhere? That's like the best you got. Imagine if you hadn't fucking uploaded anything and it was just on your computer. You'd be so fucked. Someone is trying to like use me like a toy for the rest of my life, and they're gonna get their fucking hands chopped off for putting them on me. What you're doing to me is a death threat. What you're doing to my life is a death threat. What I say is in self-defense. Yeah, somebody could say this is our home and me being here didn't change that. In any fucking universe, like, do you have some kind of problem? acting like somehow me being here changed your home. It sounds like you fucked me over in a way no one should ever. And you want me to leave to like hide the evidence. That's what the fuck your problem is. Otherwise, like, you could have just left me alone. Yeah, exactly. So stalking me and terrorizing me pretty much outed yourselves. Yeah, slam that fucking car door right on your own face. Where is this stupid thing? Why isn't it like immediately coming up? There. But I guess it's gonna be the Guardian instead of... That's weird. But whatever.
Donald's coming to set you free, bringing the light for all to see. No more tunnels, no more fear. Trump Gaza is finally here. Trump Gaza shining bright, golden future, a brand new light. Feast and dance.
Again, this is being played with disgust. Like, this is not funny or cute. I would play like circus music in the background for stuff to make sure that you got my intent. Sorry, I don't mean to circle her butt. So you know what I meant by playing this, but if someone is deliberately trying to hate you, take you out of context, whatever, misunderstand, they'll do it anyway. I just feel the need to say that because it's fucked up. And the parallel between Gaza, Palestine, and Portland. Probably a lot of other places too.
As the deal is done, Trump Gaza number one. Trump Gaza shining bright, golden future, a brand new light. Feast and dance, the deal is done. Trump Gaza number one.
We have an opportunity to do something that could be phenomenal. And I don't want to be cute, I don't want to be a wise guy, but the Riviera of the Middle East, this could be something that could be so this could be so magnificent.
This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, the War and Peace Report. I'm Nadine Sheikh in New York, joined by Amy Goodman in Telluride, Colorado. Hi, Amy.
Hi, Nermeen, and welcome to our listeners, viewers, and readers around the country and around the world. Yes, this is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, the War and Peace Report. Across Gaza, Israeli attacks killed at least 41 Palestinians since dawn today, including 3 people seeking aid in the so-called safe zone of Al-Mawasi. This comes as the Israeli army said today it will end a daily tactical pause in Gaza City that it announced last month for humanitarian purposes, saying the city now, quote, constitutes a dangerous combat zone. This is Mohammed Al-Adam, a displaced Palestinian in Gaza City.
What should we do? Do we stay here to die, to be broken? My 2 brothers died. My mother was martyred. My cousins were killed before my eyes. What should we do? We keep moving from one place to another until God above looks upon us.
As Israel pushes deeper into Gaza City, the United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres called its expanded military operation to seize area a new and dangerous phase.
Unbelievably, civilians are facing yet another deadly escalation. Israel's initial steps to military take over Gaza City signals a new and dangerous phase. Expanded military operations in Gaza City will have devastating consequences. Hundreds of thousands of civilians, already exhausted and traumatized, would be forced to flee yet again plunging families into even deeper peril. This must stop.
As aid groups warn famine is absolutely ravaging Gaza City, Guterres said Israel is continuing to block UN-led humanitarian efforts and called the famine a, quote, result of deliberate decisions that defy basic humanity. This comes as President Trump met Wednesday to discuss plans for a post-war Gaza with his son-in-law and former Middle East envoy Jared Kushner and former British Prime Minister Tony Blair. Blair stepped down as Prime Minister in 2007 and went on to serve as UN Middle East envoy until 2015. Last month, it was reported that staff members of his think tank, the Tony Blair Institute for Global Change, had joined Israeli business leaders in developing a post-war Gaza plan that included the creation of a Trump Riviera and a manufacturing zone named after Elon Musk, using financial models developed by the U.S. firm Boston Consulting Group. Meanwhile, Jared Kushner has previously praised Gaza's potentially, quote, very valuable waterfront property. In February, Trump called for a U.S. takeover of Gaza and shared an AI-generated video depicting the territory as a luxury beach resort called Trump Gaza.
Tunnels coming to set you free, bringing the light for all to see. No more tunnels, no more fear. Trump Gaza is finally here. Trump Gaza shining bright, golden future, a brand new light.
Well, for more, we're joined in London by Josh Paul, a veteran State Department official who worked on arms deals and resigned in protest of the push to increase arms sales to Israel amid its assault on Gaza. He's a former director in the Bureau of Political Military Affairs in the State Department, where he worked for 11 years. He's now a director at a new policy, the lobbying organization he co-founded with fellow resignee Tariq Habash to press for a change in U.S. policy on Palestine and Israel. Josh Paul also worked with Tony Blair when Blair was Quartet Special Envoy for Middle East Peace, and Paul was an advisor for the U.S. Security Coordinator. Josh Paul, welcome back to Democracy Now! So if you could comment on this meeting that took place earlier this week between Trump, Blair, and Jared Kushner, and to what extent, in fact, it echoes what Kushner had said earlier last year, and Trump said earlier this year about converting Gaza into a Riviera and essentially expelling all Palestinians from the territory.
Yes, thank you very much for having me. Look, at the end of the day, this is a nightmarish example of profits over people. What you have with Kushner and Blair is a combination of the corrupt and the feckless. And I say that having worked with Tony Blair, as you say, when he was Quartet Special Advisor, and seen how he prioritized pie-in-the-sky economic programs over the real political progress that needs to be made to allow any sort of Palestinian economic development and reconstruction. But worse than that, they are intimately tied into this Gaza Riviera project, which, you know, is reliant ultimately on the ethnic cleansing of the Palestinians, and that's the reason that the Boston Consulting Group, which had played a part in developing it, not only withdrew from the project, but fired some of the consultants who had been involved, precisely because there is no way to advance this project without violating international law. So it is a deeply concerning development, and I think shows the continuing path that Israel and other partners of its in the Middle East, other corporate partners, and certainly Mr. Kushner and Blair are trying to take Gaza on. It's a dark path.
Axios is reporting, Josh, that the White House envoy, Steve Witkoff, has been collaborating with Kushner and Blair for months. I mean, if you could talk about this vision of day after. I mean, you also worked with Blair. You have a sense of what they're doing. I mean, Jared Kushner, we haven't heard his name in a while as he works on these global development projects where he and Ivanka Trump are making enormous sums of money from Albania to other places. Going back to that sort of famous moment when he talked about, Gaza being a valuable piece of real estate, and this whole repeated issue of, Trump's Riviera. So
I think for some people, and I include Mr. Kushner among these, everything is about money. Tony Blair and Jared Kushner have played a continuing role in pursuing the economic lane of the Abraham Accords, the effort to normalize Israel's relationships with other countries in the Middle East, which of course have come at the expense of the Palestinians and greatly led us to where we are now. It was not long after October 2023 that Jared Kushner sprung up and started talking about building seafront apartments in Gaza. Of course, this is at the same time that the Israelis are decimating the Gaza Strip, that the UN has declared a famine. We're talking about a development project in which apartments would essentially be built on the graveyard of Palestinians. That is just an unconscionable approach, but it does fit in with the long-term pattern. And when it comes to Tony Blair, my own experience was that he pursues policies that are simply disconnected from the realities on the ground. When I worked with him in the West Bank, he sat in his five-star hotel in Jerusalem, in the German colony, and dictated economic fantasies that went nowhere because there was no political resolution, because Israel would nickel and dime each proposal to death. It was death by 1,000 cuts when it came to the implementation. But Blair was fundamentally unwilling to face this reality, tied in as he is to the senior leadership in Israel and across the region. And so this is, first of all and most importantly, a distraction from the very real, very urgent humanitarian crisis right now that demands that we do all we can to get Israel to lift its blockade on humanitarian assistance and let the United Nations and other humanitarian agencies do their job. But it is also a very cynical effort to exploit incredible suffering for economic gain.
Josh Paul, I wanted to get your response to the news that broke Thursday. Former U.S. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan now saying he would support Congress voting to withhold military aid to Israel. This is Jake Sullivan speaking to the Bulwark podcast.
The situation as it stands today, following the breakdown of the ceasefire in March, means that a vote to withhold weapons from Israel is a totally credible position. That is a position that I would support.
So that was Jake Sullivan. Meanwhile, the State Department spokesperson under former President Biden, Matt Miller, admitted in May he believes Israel committed war crimes in Gaza, a reversal coming after more than a year as the face of the Biden administration's foreign policy repeatedly defending Israel against allegations of war crimes and genocide. This was Miller speaking in April of last year.
We have been very clear that we want to see Israel do everything it can to minimize civilian casualties. We have made clear that they need to do that they need to operate at all times in full compliance with international humanitarian law. At the same time, we are committed to Israel's right to self-defense.
But during an interview with Sky News in June, Matt Miller said he believed Israel did commit war crimes in Gaza and that Israeli soldiers are not being held accountable.
I don't think it's a genocide, but I think I think it is without a doubt true that Israel has committed war crimes.
You wouldn't have said that at the podium.
Yeah, look, because when you're at the podium, you're not expressing your personal opinion. You're expressing the conclusions of the United States government.
So, Josh Paul, you are a veteran State Department official. If you can first respond to these revelations or this reversal of the former U.S. National Security Advisor, Jake Sullivan, under Biden, someone you worked with very closely.
So what I would say is, first of all, look, it's never too late for genuine contrition, but that's not what this is. Mr. Sullivan is reading the tea leaves, seeing the remarkable shift in American public opinion, and so particularly in democratic politics, and he and others are trying to shift in order to continue to secure for themselves the sinecures, the influence, and potentially the roles in future administrations that they desire. But the problem here is that while the situation is worse now than it has been, the facts are not new, Israel's approach are not new. 15 of us resigned during the course of the Biden administration, resigned publicly because, and precisely because, people like Mr. Sullivan would not listen to those facts and in fact did all they could to subvert an honest approach to this crisis. And so I think that it is, a reflection of the changing American politics that they are shifting their perspectives, but they remain unmoored in any sort of moral grounding here. And I think there has to be some form of accountability in terms of the future careers of these people.
And Josh Paul, I'd just like to go back to the meeting that occurred earlier this week. In addition to Blair and Kushner, Axios, the same article that Amy referred to, also reported the presence of an unexpected third, namely high-ranking Israeli official Ron Dermer, whose input Trump reportedly requested. He apparently said that Israel does not want to occupy Gaza for good and does not seek the expulsion of Palestinians. I mean, Dermer is an extremely senior official in Netanyahu's government. He's Minister of Strategic Affairs, has been since 2022, and is now the head of negotiations for the release of the hostages. So if you could talk about the significance of this, whether you think it's accurate, likely accurate, and to what extent it's representative of at least some people within Netanyahu's administration.
So, first of all, let me say, President Biden, I think, was famously said about Ukraine, or I think it was Secretary Blinken at the time, nothing about Ukraine without Ukraine. And yet here we are discussing the future of Gaza and of the Palestinians without the Palestinians. So I think, first of all, let's be clear that this is a discussion that should never have taken place without Palestinian representation. But second of all, let's step back and recognize that, yes, there is very clearly an intent here to impose essentially a new form of colonialism, a transition from Israeli colonialism to corporate, and I might actually be very clear and say Emirati colonialism as well, in the Gaza Strip, that segments the Palestinians into small, manageable groups. I use the term manageable, of course, very cynically, and then imposes these forms of governance that are undemocratic, that are autocratic, and that allow for companies to come in and take profits, for countries to come in and gain strategic advantage. It is, again, I think, very troubling, but let's also note that we are seeing that plan already being implemented. This isn't just something that is being discussed for the future. This is the purpose of the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, the GHF, so-called, at which over 1,000 Palestinians have been killed at their sites, is precisely to start building towards this plan, first with American mercenaries, and then to transition to other countries.
I mean, if you could just tell us, where do you think negotiations stand? I mean, to the extent that Palestinians are involved anywhere, they are involved in those negotiations, and Hamas has reportedly accepted a ceasefire and hostage deal proposal put forward by Qatar and Egypt, but Israel has yet to respond.
So I think, as has been the case throughout the last couple of years, this ultimately remains a question of Benjamin Netanyahu's political interest. Indeed, it's been reported in the last week that even senior IDF officials have turned to Mr. Netanyahu and said, stop, there's no more benefit, quote unquote, to be gained. We are continuing to put at life the risks of our own hostages who are in Gaza, and yet Mr. Netanyahu refuses to move forward on any sort of lasting ceasefire, and so we remain where we are until he sees that it is in his own interest to do so. And that is just, first of all, unconscionable at an individual level, but also disastrous, I think, not only for the people of Gaza, but for the country of Israel and for the United States in its complicity in this.
Josh Paul, thanks so much for joining us. Veteran State Department official who worked on arms deals and resigned in protest against the push to increase arms sales to Israel amid its assault on Gaza. He's a former director in the Bureau of Political Military Affairs in the State Department, where he worked for 11 years. He's now a director at A New Policy, the lobbying organization he co-founded with fellow resignee Tariq Habash to press for a change in U.S. policy on Palestine and Israel.
Thanks for watching Democracy Now! On YouTube. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to make sure you never miss a video. And for more of our audience-supported journalism, go to democracynow.org, where you can download our news app, sign up for our newsletter, subscribe to the daily podcast, and so much more.
trying to get some laundry done now. I don't think that it's possible for it to dry, to wash and dry. I don't know. Should I at least think, oh, well, they won't come, like, they're not just rubbing their hands together waiting to show up on the 13th. They'll at least wait till Monday. Like, should I think that, or is that, like, incredibly stupid? You know, like, the day is done. You got the 11th, and then they expected you to be gone on Friday. According to that one piece of paper, no one is emailing me back. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. The imminent threat of death is like... Should I relate it to... Because, I mean, you can. You need me to just relate it to Palestine, and then people will get it, because they'll care about Palestine. They don't care about you. Like, it is a parallel, but that's also super demented. Like... There's a couple of things I'm not sure about. I've tried to, for some reason, some like underwear that I bought that has a thick band on it smells like pesticide. It stinks. I don't know if I should bother even trying to wash it again. Like a waste of time. And yeah, you gotta at least get prepared if they fucking try to pull some shit. That, which also in itself feels unfair. Like, to even make me be prepared. Why don't you just take apart your entire room anyway? That's all they wanted. Stop telling me to do anything. Stop wasting gasoline torturing me. I bought a sanitizer that I hadn't bought before. I mean, I'd like to do a lot more, but it's easier to just do as few things as possible. You have no one has any place to fucking criticize me. Get the fuck out of here. What, you got something out of doing this to me. Fucking evil. Yeah, I have to be careful about soap on my hands. Yeah, soap on my lips, soap like from doing the laundry by hand. Hold on. and then they just, somebody throw off a siren sound. Just, come on, give her a little punch in the head a little bit. We think it's funny. Let's just make her fucking stupid and inarticulate, and then, like, maybe that'll help. Because she's so fucking upset. The idea that I have to constantly prove my poverty, like, what? What? I have to prove it all the time? What the fuck is that? How much? I live in low-income housing. I grew up at a fucking orphanage. Like, a free boarding school, but it's a social orphanage. You can't go unless you're poor. Criteria. Like, how much more of a fucking stamp of official, like, I've been poor my entire fucking life. I'm on food stamps and OHP. I've got a Lifeline phone. And yeah, and you made everything even worse and harder to find some kind of source of income by doing this shit to me. Yeah, it's that fucking K-shaped nightmare. This bullshit. I never expected to have my own house. My family is completely on assistance. Like, some twat that had a trust fund is out here harassing you to death. Like, we want you to have a certain story a certain way. I want you to get the fuck off of everybody's life. Yeah, why do I even have soap right now? Because Walmart gives you fucking cash back. That's the only reason I had any fucking supplies. Lysol, soap. I got shampoo and conditioner from an organization like a year ago that I still have. Still use, like, I shower so infrequently to save stuff. Like soap. And because it feels like I'm being watched in my fucking apartment, which is creepy. If I didn't feel watched, I still would have to save, like, supplies. So, and doing my laundry by hand means, like, you're wearing your clothes as long as possible. Like, almost until you can't stand it. I need, like, an industrial washing machine to get the smell out. Yeah, that's a funny joke. They thought they would just steal all your stuff. It's gonna smell real fucking weird, dude, so good luck. I was looking at Walmart. Walmart does this cash back thing. You have to buy certain things and you get cash back. So I end up buying shit I wouldn't have bought. Sometimes it's more expensive. Because you buy it with food stamps, you get cash back. It's how I've been able to get toilet paper. Like, yeah, it's like the best thing ever, actually. I don't like sounding like an ad, but it is. I wouldn't have been able. You weren't fucking helping me survive. You weren't getting me food boxes or supplies. You were letting me die. Like, you, whoever the fuck else, that should have shown up and, like, what, help me? Yeah, the building itself did give food boxes, did give bus passes, gave the guy put me on his phone plan. He shouldn't have done that, actually. He should have signed me up for a Lifeline phone. Not put me on his own $10 a month. Which I have paid him back for. and got my own phone. So, like, I don't feel like I owe anybody anything. It should have been just, nice of him. But he had me on his phone plan from, 2017 until 2022. Well, the building definitely provided things. You can't just and that is the point of where I live. It's not just a regular fucking apartment building. For the millionth time, they get to tout their mission. They get to put their success stories. They get to do all of this services. They're supposed to have an emergency fund. Yeah, they could say that, well, we don't have any money right now. Yeah, well, you just opened, another building? So, well, when it comes down to it, and again, that relates right back to, why I should be granted a motion or whatever the fuck. It's their job, and they're just they really expect you to listen to the people talking into your bathroom. I swear somebody literally said oh, we're not gonna evict you now. I'm as if you want to pretend that you're God and you gave me permission to do something stupid, because that's the same thing. I don't trust somebody talking into my room. You're not giving me some fucking information, for all I know, they want you to be as fucked as possible and are mad you're doing your laundry because you might have a chance to, not be as fucked as you would be. At least have, a clean fucking pair of underwear. So, the idea, oh, it's okay, calm down, it'll be okay, is just as fucking demented as, get the fuck out, nobody wants you here, we don't love you, we don't trust you bullshit, say this, there is no difference really. You're some pretending to be an entity, and you're talking into my unit and making me look schizophrenic, and I'm not. Nobody would ever want somebody to do this. It would be completely just taking advantage of somebody. It's a terrorist tactic, sweetie. Yeah? So glad you know so well. Why don't you write your own fucking essay about how fucked up the world is and then change it? Since everybody knew what the fuck was wrong. I'm just letting laundry soak. I feel like there's gotta be more shit you can throw in there. I'm gonna be too tired to fucking scrub it. Well, the last time I did laundry, it sat in the tub for 2 days, and then I tried to scrub. You put in the sanitizer. Usually I use Lysol, just straight up, like this stuff. Microphone, okay. But so usually I use that stuff, but this time I got specific laundry. This stuff. It smells really nice too, like, that's good. I kind of, this like spray bottle soap thing is a really good idea, actually, especially for what I needed. But it doesn't smell quite as much like, well, and you're gonna use a lot less and you can reuse the bottle. So, I mean, I could put whatever I want in the bottle. I should have bought that other fucking, also, the apple. This stuff. But, yeah, anyway. But, yeah, you put the sanitizer in. And again, this helped me prove, like, when they even put these notices on my door. Because this is on December 9th. And then on December 6th, yeah, I did do this on purpose. To do this. Yeah, I did. And on December 6th, there was nothing. On December 1st, there was nothing. I got some bad fucking olives. Close. Where's the photo? Okay, well, you know, I mean, you have it in multiple places. Why are you fucking around? That's weird that there's not... email. At 10:03 a.m. So, yeah, there's always a picture. Whatever one, I don't take print. December 1st, 2025, Walmart. And then December 6th, look for the delivered. Same thing. Here's the picture. December 6th, 2025, Walmart. And then and yeah, it's like I'm also kind of doing my food stamps out of order because I wanted to like have a proof. Yeah, if there was anything or not. Like, I guess I would have just kept buying food stamps or buying food. If they had never posted anything on my door every couple days. So, it didn't get one. At 10:51. I wanted to say at 10:51. Why is it being dumb? That's fucking stupid. The other things worked just fine 10 seconds ago. Scrolling down isn't helping. It should. That's a bunch of bullshit. There. December 9th. Yeah. So, cool. I mean, I kind of needed to do that anyway. Yeah, the term humiliation keeps coming to mind. Like, oh my god, what the fuck is this life? battery died? No. It's because someone wants to be a fucking psychopath and make me feel like they just watched me take a shit instead. Why don't you just die? Go to hell yourself! Oh my fucking god, what a psycho bitch. Yeah, why don't you had all these thoughts before you sat down, totally got sidelined because, like, anger at someone violating my stuff. I don't have a lot of stuff. I don't own fucking anything. I don't own a country. And I don't know, you're some kind of fucking dictator psychopath that just wants to own everything and everyone. I don't have shit. But the idea of people, like, they're, like, bidding for some human rights war. And when it's over, they want to look like they're the fucking best, most human rights activist, most developed, most progressive. But, like, you kill everybody during COVID or let them die. Then you let your little champions rise to the top of something. Everything's like a sick ploy. Like, it's just a thought process. What the fuck do I know? Yeah, if it really bothers somebody, it means A, they're stalking me in my apartment. So, like, they're automatically in the wrong. And then B, they probably fucked me over. And they're mad that I'm right. Why did you do all of this shit, like, to me right now? There has to be some timing to it. Well, this is when people could be in town. Just before the holidays, or, like... Something comes and goes, I don't know what the fuck it is. Yeah, they could tell, look, COVID wasn't real, nobody died. Then all of that data is fake and you tortured me for years on end. With some, and then, I mean, did that also mean you got me sick in the first place on purpose? Because I would have never been scared of COVID the way I was if I had never been sick. Like... And then someone's walking around all the time, yeah, doing some kind of warfare. Like, it's not, like, at the end of the day, they're not going to look like fascists. They're going to look like humanitarians. That's, like, the biggest joke about it. Whoever the fuck. Yeah, they killed a bunch of people and had wanted you to get on the same page about why they thought that was fine. And I never would be, and they're mad about that too, because then they look like assholes and can't play this humanitarian thing they wanted to be. But laundry is soaking. Let that go on until the water gets cold. Then rinse it. Then scrub it with Zote. Then rinse it. And then hang it up to dry. And you at least saved a few things that... Oh, this absolutely sucks. Yeah, it's not, there's nothing about this that's like, yay. So fucking delighted to have had this experience. I was like, well, good. We were on our way out on this planet. We probably still have like 30 or 40 years left. But you're supposed to have like 60? I mean, really, like what the fuck is the difference? If you keep hurting me, it's like I'm not gonna live as long as the fuckers that are killing me. If they're in their like 70s. She doesn't even know what. I am surviving in a stupid situation. This isn't how I would normally do anything. You can't judge my situation, you stupid motherfucker. And you shouldn't be in my room anyway to judge anything. It's like forcing you to sit in the middle of a classroom and the other kids won't shut the fuck up. Well, they do this in some other country that we thought we were going to send you to as like an American ambassador to get you out of our hair and then make you do stuff we don't want to do. That's what Empire does. They like fucking force people to do shit. That's why it sucks. Yeah, fuck off. No, everything is international. That was always like the biggest joke. Why those people were so snobby about having gone all over the fucking world. It was, and why it's still associated as like a wealthy thing to do. Because we don't have like Erasmus in our country like they do in... Yeah, are those people always richer than us too anyway? When I went to the Czech Republic, I learned what Erasmus was. And it's like everybody just like travels all over Europe for school. Like part of their education. Look, we got some demented notion about something, and either you're gonna be like an American hero or some sort of like thing that we can beat up. Yeah, is that it? That's all you got? Like, we're gonna use you for some stupid story that we wanted to push whether it was true or not. Yeah, there's something called like a blind audition. They do them in music. You know, and on this level, it's like, it doesn't matter who the motherfucker is. You can't do this shit to me. It doesn't matter why you're doing it. You can't do this shit to me. Race, class, sex, gender, age, ability, national origin. Congratulations. It doesn't fucking matter. You're a guy, person, human, behind a fucking curtain. You're someone behind a curtain. And you're, like, terrorizing me. It's not even about music. I'm not doing anything to anybody. Well, because this is not an audition. It's not anything besides me living in my fucking apartment. Remember, I had nightmares in 2020. Over and over, the same kind of nightmare in different scenarios. But that I lived somewhere that was like a waiting room or like a repurposed, the lobby of like an airport. There was, the apartment itself, but like with people coming and going all the time, like through my apartment, through wherever the fuck I was supposed to be calling home. Like it was a fucking airport. They were nightmares. And then this shit is like, they just, they don't literally have people inside my unit unless I was asleep and didn't know it, like, which is terrorizing. I wore a ring since 2012, pretty much. My ex wore it for a couple years and gave it back to me. But it's almost like since 2012, I've had that fucking ring. I got it at Applefest in Ithaca. It wasn't expensive. It's not like some heirloom or some shit. I just had it, and it meant something to me. And one day I woke up and it was off my hand. Like, while I've been isolated in here. So it's either somewhere around and I still haven't found it. Or like, someone came into my room. Which is terrifying. I have a fucking camera, but I have to like know to look at it. They keep saying they didn't get it. There's nothing to get. There is nothing to get. What the fuck is this goddamn joke? About whether you got a joke. Why don't you just get it? We wanted you to die. Why won't you just die? There's nothing to get. I said, fuck you. Like, right back at you then, I guess, bitch. Why don't you, like, work for human rights or something, like, actually with your life? Well, they don't get paid for that. Yeah, what the fuck? Don't you think there's enough people? Yeah, there's plenty of people that wouldn't get paid to kill anybody. It's like the people that would fucking hurt people end up taking over, though, because they would hurt people. I'm still like, no thanks. Yeah, I feel like I'm a better person than you. Maybe it is about being an atheist and feeling the need to, like, prove myself, even though I'm an atheist. Yeah, maybe. Well, MHS is never gonna be able to be like, oh, she was a fucking atheist, evil bitch. That's why she was so miserable, because she wasn't full of the light of the Lord. I mentioned an hour of chapel every Sunday for 8 years. Plus devotions, plus when you had to like pray, keep your head down and shit, and close your eyes. How would you know my eyes aren't closed if yours were open? And then what? Then something loops into the opposite direction, calling you a cum slut? Bitch, I don't even, like, qualify for the average amount of partners from my generation. Like... Man, you wish I was a slut. As if that would be an excuse. Fucking asshole. Yeah, there's a world where bitch, slut, cunt, crazy. You know, there's words that friends can use with each other because they don't mean a loser. And, like, they don't mean it the same way as somebody that's calling you outside your name. With, like, malicious intent. Like, they're being mean. Makes the difference. And are not your friend that you know in any way. Like, I feel like that's not something you have to explain to people. I have nothing to be forgiven for, you fucking loser. What the fuck is wrong with you? Get your stupid ass out of my fucking life! It is more than it's terrifying because it's like, oh my god, somebody who is like mentally ill and religious and then has more power than you and won't leave you the fuck alone. Yeah, mentally ill as in like a deranged level of inaccurate, illogical, wrong, fucking like, and then, but like, yeah, all these people, it's socially acceptable how fucking wrong they are, and they're mentally ill. And that's religion for you. And what somehow though, the people that like have no sincere beliefs, they're nihilists, they're willing to like wave any flag if it got them somewhere they wanted to go, and they take advantage of people, they don't give a fuck. They're actually scarier sometimes than the fucking like, well, at least I can say a religious person that's murdering you makes no sense. They're a hypocrite that's not even practicing their own religion. That nihilist guy though, like, and I'm an atheist, you know, it's like speaking to my own subset or something, even though like I'm a humanist atheist, dumbass. I've said this stuff already like a bunch of times. I say because I am terrified. Like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. Yeah, the shit that ever even thought this crap was funny. That I used in the, this was like a real slide in a presentation the police used here. That's mental illness to think that this is funny. Gauge yourself, like... Well, think it's funny. I mean, like, I guess I mean more to take it seriously than to think it's funny. You could think it's funny and don't take it seriously. Someone is making stupid why don't you record them? Because like the idea that they're setting you up to do that is also weird. Yeah, again, this is like a power thing. They got their own person to have what essentially is like a fake fight with you. And it accomplishes something for them. But, like, people that are not directly in the fight are just getting, like, ignored. Who knows what the fuck was going on with those guys? Who really deserves your time and attention? And who, like, I couldn't, like, I feel I've been fucked with my whole life. I'm sure other people do too. And also deserve help. Like, from someone that gives a shit about him, not help you off a cliff. I don't know, yeah, I look at the Portland protests from 2020 and try to imagine just like, if I had a bad time and feel like my apartment was targeted, but I was smart enough not to think it was the protest, it was somebody infiltrating them essentially. Someone else who has no differentiation. What they would have thought, maybe. Yeah, they just remember a lot of booms and bangs and scary things. And just have a totally negative response to, and like can't even articulate the military took over. You know, in their mind, it all got conflated with a bunch of fear and unsaid arguments, and they're the fucker that's outside here calling me white. And they are white. And they're calling me white. Because, like, in their brain, that's what, like, they remember from this. Or something. Like, I mean... And I'm like, no, this was like a military takeover. Period. No one was telling you to die because you were white, dumbass. Like, like I said, I would never be on a white supremacy boat or any supremacy. Like, any group that's like, we should be the only ones that rule the world. That's wrong, so... Yeah, race, class, sex, gender, age, ability, national origin. You just pick one and then say, like, that one demographic should be all that's there. That's wrong. Yeah, cops are not a race. They were trying to... That's why Blue Lives Matter didn't make sense. Are they an ethnicity? Oh my god. Because it's like something coming out of like a cultural heritage. Yeah, well then punks are an ethnicity. Or you gotta come up with a new word for stuff like that. Like... Punks are definitely a cultural identity that should be protected. Because it never meant, like, fucking people over. That's why they should be protected, because all it meant was, like, being alternative to the traditional norms of, like, everything before the 20th century. And through the 20th century. Like... And holding truth to power, yeah, there's a sense of punks critique power, and they just do stuff that at least used to be different. If it ever becomes not different, I guess it's still punk. It's just that, you know, if someday everybody dyes their hair blue, everyone, you know, it's like, well, that comes out of some kind of like... Yeah, being indigenous is punk when you got oppressed to death. Like, that's... Like, existing is punk when they were gonna just kill you. Like... Well, that was the difference between, like, Nazis and everybody else. Nazis would kill you. And, like, everybody else would just, like, coexist. Yeah, kill you can mean social murder that took years and made it look like you could blame something else. I'm obviously never gonna change my tune, especially not, like... I am just eating to eat right now. It's kind of making my stomach hurt. No matter how much you drink, sometimes you drink enough caffeine, you actually get tired. I might just take like a 20-minute nap. I'm scared to go to sleep. and then sleep for like too long or something, and that shouldn't be happening. I shouldn't be scared to have normal bodily functions. I shouldn't be feeling coached on what I should be talking about either. Like, there seemed to be like a more positive atmosphere when you were drawing parallels to Palestine. Someone really liked that idea. Now they don't like you again. Like, what the fuck, dude? I am making a little bit of a mess. I said it yesterday. I mean, and that's what terrorizing somebody does. It makes their brain go over, like, they're like prompted to go over a scenario over and over and over and over again. Why would you be quiet? Like, you can't be quiet about it. Like, I don't have any cannabis either that does help in that calming yourself thing. Well, we don't want people to be calm. Yeah, you're evil, like psycho bastards that are trying to stress everybody else to death. So, no wonder you didn't like cannabis. You can be absolutely woke and aware and be a pothead, I promise. Myself to prove. You know, I was doing like 4 grams of dabs a week when I had money in 2023, which is the most money I've ever had. And I mean, it's still just as like with it. And it was a lot easier to like mentally block out all the fucking bullshit. I want ginger. There you go. Before it goes bad. It looks like a little cactus. Could have just had a place where I could grow my own food. Yeah, without worry someone's gonna piss and shit in the fucking, set it on fire or some other stupid goddamn thing. And it's like, well, that's not the homeless's fault. Yeah, I know, it's not. That's like the first person they'll blame. They'll pretend it was homeless people doing it. And it's like, it's people that hated homeless people. Oh, what? There's nowhere to go to the bathroom. Well, yeah, and I've seen situations where I understand that person couldn't crawl all the way to the fucking grocery store to take a shit. It isn't right. It isn't a solution. Well, I'm not going to outrightly say it's not that it's stupid. There aren't always places to go to the bathroom. That's like its own problem. Yeah, exactly. Just eat a little bit of this and shove it in here. Is it just because I critique capitalism? No, it's like 5 things. You critique capitalism, you're an atheist, you also don't let other atheists get away with anything just as much as any other group. You don't, there's no ass that I kiss. Religion, military, God, money. That spicy is so nice. And really helps me like breathe better. Oh, somebody said all of these things before. Yeah. Sometimes for like thousands of years. Sometimes it's like America just got to look like it was the most advanced thing on planet Earth for some reason for a long time. And some sneaky, like, I don't know who, I have no, like, thing to look at that's like, and meanwhile, this other country or whatever was way more advanced and you just hadn't known. And they were so much more advanced, they let you look like you were as a trick. Or maybe everybody just moved there at some point. I don't know. But yeah, they had it somewhere else that no one ever talks about, no one ever thinks about. Yeah, they lived in the center of the earth. They come up like cicadas. Once they figured out how some shit worked, it was like all everyone's whether they looked like white or black or brown or these people look like the fucking universe or something. It wouldn't even. I'm just making sci-fi to cope. That's not the same as like a genuine. Knock it over on everything. You gotta know, I am overwhelmed to a point of like, I can't even think. Go in my bathroom, it smells really nice. I look at like stuff that I could put in the laundry, which I'm doing by hand. And the idea that like, yeah, the day after tomorrow, I won't even be in this room. It just, no. Like, and don't make me cry about it again and wring my guts and like... No! It just, that has to be like impossible. Like, it's just... so fucking cruel to even... Yet put you through the thought process again. No, no one thought, no one said, no one ever did they think I wanted to go home with my mother. I do not have a fucking mother. I do not have a fucking home. You are some full of shit psychopath that stalks this building and should be all over the goddamn cameras in the hallways. Fuck off. No, a certain level of stress, your body crunches your organs. Like, I need to take a rest. It's 11:42, 10th of December, 2025. Universal human rights or it's fascism. Universal human rights or it's a psyop. Universal human rights or it's a genocide. Universal human rights or it's social murder. Universal human rights are just COINTELPRO shit. Universal human rights or it's bullshit. Everything is bullshit. That poetic enough for you, fucker? Oh wait, I don't care. I don't care if you liked my spiel. This was torture. Oh, it could always be worse. It should have been better. Fucking noted.